Yeah, sorry about that. It cut out because my storage was full up, so I had to delete, excuse me, certain files to free up some space. So I'm just gonna continue on from where I left off. And this is St. Luke chapter 10, verse 1. After these things, the Lord, Yahushua, appointed other 70 also, because Yahushua didn't just have 12 disciples at at that time. He had 70 plus the 12, and sent them two and two before his face into every city and place whither he himself would come. Therefore said he unto them, the harvest truly is great, but the laborers are few. Pray ye therefore the Lord of the harvest that he would send forth laborers into his harvest. Right. So like again, I'm talking on the point of being the pros and cons of teaching by yourself. And I if I had it my way, if I had it my way, because I thought about this, I said to myself, if I had it my way, I wouldn't even make camps. I'll just make every man to go out there and teach by himself. Because that's how you separate the real from the fake. Do you get what I'm saying? That's how you know who's sincere and who is just going off of a very superficial perception of what they think this truth is about. Do you understand? But Yahushua sent his disciples at the time two by two for a reason. Okay? For if one fall, the other one can help him up. In wisdom wise, understanding wise, okay, say if police get involved, say if something happens where you might have cussed out the wrong person or cussed out a sodomite or a woman and told the woman, oh, you better know your place. You might, convey a message in a very aggressive way and offend somebody who's in the world. And they might phone the police get involved, and you don't know the law. You don't know how to defend yourself, right? But the other guy that you're laboring with does know the law. So he might be able to help you out. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's the pros, you could say, to being in a camp. But the cons of being by yourself is that you're not gonna know everything. You're not gonna have it all together. You know what I'm saying? You might not be perfect in the Hebrew. You might not be accurate in the history. You might not be how can I say, really good with the artwork to create like a 12 tribe sign or posters. Your artwork might not be all that. So when you're kind of making posters, people don't really, it doesn't really look appealing. Do you get what I mean? You might not be a good spokesman. And this is what all the pros of being in a camp. This is why Yahweh Shah sent forth his disciples two and two, and not by one and one. Do you understand? So being by yourself, it's a lot of pressure, especially when you first come into the truth. If you've come into the truth firsthand and you're out there by yourself, that shows that you the Most High has given you a certain eyesight to really see what's coming, and the fear of the Most High Yahweh Hashem Shai is inside of you. That's why the scriptures say it's the Most High's how can I let me get it real quick. This is Philippians chapter 2, verse 12. Wherefore, my beloved, as ye have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but now much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. Right? For it is the Most High which worketh in you both to will and to do of his good pleasure. So the Most High has put a spirit on you. The Most High is working with you to will and to do his good pleasure. There's a certain driving mechanism that's pushing you out of the world and into the spirit realm of the works of the Most High, man. And to do it by yourself, because most guys wouldn't do that, man. Especially when you first come into the truth. Especially when you first come into the truth, you're looking to join a camp because you don't feel confident. But usually guys like that, I'm thinking like, if you were sincere, you'd go out there anyway. You would go out there anyway. You know what I mean? With the little knowledge that you have. You have certain brothers that make excuses and they say, oh, I'm not ready yet. Or I don't feel like I know enough. Hey, every time, that's no excuse. That's no excuse whatsoever. There was every week when that day came that I usually go out there on a Saturday or a Sunday or what have you. Before I went out there in the highways and lanes, and I was in my house, every day, every time that day came, I always felt like I didn't know enough. I always felt unconfident until I went out there, until I opened up my mouth. Do you understand? You gotta trust in the spirit. You gotta do what you gotta do. Okay. So again, part of the you could say pros of being in this truth is that you test the boundaries of your faith. You can test it. As opposed when you're in a camp, you have the support of all the Akim there. So it's almost like you're not really proving yourself, are you? Because you know you're seen as being secure when you're there's strength in numbers. You look strong because you got the support of other people. But when you're by yourself, you look weak. You look of like the filth of the world, the offscoring. Do you understand? And even more so because you're by yourself. Even more so, you stand out. Okay? You're into something else. You got a different spirit. You're into something else that the world doesn't promote. You understand? You're going to see friends. You're going to see family members that are going to look at you all crazy. You understand? You're going to literally be separated. Okay? And the Most High, but you don't realize that the Most High is making you clean. And you have to understand that. This is the reason why it's so important that you have a good mind when you come into the Lord. Okay? And constantly endure. Constantly. But let me I'm bring out some scriptures. Let me get my thoughts in order. What's the scripture I was gonna get? Um damn. Hold on, bear me. My precepts right there. Yeah, that's a rock for. Yeah, that's it. Okay, that's a rock 4, which is that one. I'm freestyling at the moment. I'm looking at my notes at the same time I'm freestyling. So this is Sirach 4, verse 11. Wisdom exhorteth her children and layeth hold of them that seek her. Right? He that loveth her loveth life, and they that seek to her early shall be filled with joy. Right? Remember I said, none with joy, he receiveth it, but then he lack root in himself, so he endureth for a while, but because of temptation and persecution, by and by he's offended, right? So it says, he that loveth her loveth life, and they that seek to her early shall be filled with joy. He that holdeth her fast shall inherit glory, and wheresoever she entereth, the Lord will bless. So you gotta hold this wisdom fast when you're by yourself, because when you're by yourself, like again, you weak, you unstable, you're wavering because you just came in. You know, this is still a brother that's newly come in. Okay, you're still a little bit unstable. So Satan could easily tell you that you're crazy, your parents, so forth and so on. And then you start saying to yourself, is this the life that I want to live? Do I really want to be, you know, everybody looking at me like I'm that guy that stands out there speaking and no one listening, you know? So it says, but to a guy that's been in this truth for a while, as even me, when I'm out there by myself, I get them demons with me as well. Don't get it twisted. Just because you've been out there for the truth for a while, that doesn't mean that you don't get those demons messing with you, the insecure demons. You still get those demons messing with you. But because I have the experience, okay, because I have the experience that I know that what I'm capable of doing, those demons don't have force over me. But to a guy that's newly come in, he doesn't have the experience. He's unskillful. So he's going to experience demons of doubt. That's going to doubt his ability. You know what I mean? This is Sirach 4, um, verse 14. They that serve her shall minister to the Holy One, and them that love her the Lord doth love. Whoso giveth ear unto her shall judge the nations, and he that attendeth unto her shall dwell securely. Okay? So if you attend unto wisdom, she's going to make sure that you're secure. You're going to be okay. So if you stand by wisdom, wisdom is going to nourish you with understanding. So when you speak, when you open up your mouth, you open your mouth for understanding, and that's going to give you a confidence. Okay, so that's the pros of being by yourself. If you stand by wisdom, if you're of the elect, okay. So it says, if a man commit himself unto her, he shall inherit her, and his generation shall hold her in possession. For at the first she will walk with him by crooked ways, and bring fear and dread upon him, and torment him with her discipline, until she may trust his soul and try him by her laws. So again, when you out there, you're teaching alone, um the cons is that, like I said, all those things before, like I was saying, that's wisdom trying you to see if you're worthy of her. You're going to be tried by crooked ways. Okay. And so, and when you come into this truth and you're teaching by yourself, um you learn how to be very guileful with how you communicate, how you deliver this word to Jake, because Jake in the world is very emotional. Okay. They're very sensitive. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them were raised up in single parent households. A lot of them you gotta be very patient with Jake. You know, you gotta be patient, and be very careful about how you press certain buttons, man. Because the scriptures talk about, how can I say, being guileful. You know, Paul said, "Unto the weak I was weak." Unto how can I say? Let me get it. Um, I became all things unto all men. That scripture there. But this is Proverbs chapter 1, um, um, verse 3. To receive the instruction of wisdom, justice, and judgment and equity, to give subtlety to the simple, to the young man knowledge and discretion. When you look at the word subtlety, the word there is shrewdness, craftiness, prudence, or guile. Do you understand? That's right. So you got to be very subtle with how you deliver this word, because when you first come into this truth and you're new, you think that this truth is all about, man, fuck you Edomites, you're going to slavery, you women, you're all a bunch of whores, and you come with this aggression, this sense of aggression, because you've been watching videos and you've kind of got a superficial view of how you think you're supposed to be teaching this word and speaking to your people. Because you have to understand is that the Most High um, wants you to speak onto Israel. And a lot of the time you think it's all about speaking at them and not speaking to them. You understand? Especially when you're by yourself and you don't have the multitude of other Arkim around you, you're vulnerable. You could be attacked. If you convey the message the wrong way, you could be attacked physically. Okay. So again, you've got to master the art of being subtle. Okay. Um, this is, see if I can find the scripture. This is on Proverbs chapter 15, verse 1. A soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. The tongue of the wise useth knowledge aright, but the mouth of fools poureth out foolishness. Okay? So, again, yeah, soft answer turneth away wrath. So you got to be very attentive to spirits, knowing who to teach. Okay? Knowing when to talk about certain things. You got to be very sensitive to these things. Trying the spirits to see whether they are of the Most High. Because if a man come up and you look like a Muslim, you don't even waste your time with a guy like that. Because all your guy's going to do is flipping annoy you and waste your time and give you a headache. And there's no point in going back and forth with somebody who you can clearly see is drunk. Because when you first come into the truth, that might sound obvious to you, but when you first come into the truth, you want to teach everybody. Anybody that comes up to you, if it's an Edomite, or you're going to slavery, getting into scriptures, or if a Jake come up and he's like he's into Islam, straight away you tell him you gotta repent or you're gonna be destroyed. You start getting you're very confrontational almost. But when you're grounded and settled within this truth, you don't have to teach everybody, because some people they don't give your pearls to swine, you know. So I guess that's a pro to teaching by yourself. You know, you you gotta know when and who to teach to. Do you understand what I'm saying? Um, this is right, right. This is Matthew chapter 7, verse 13. Enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. Because straight is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. Right. And when you look at the word narrow in that verse 14, it means to press as grapes, press hard upon, to trouble, afflict, distress, straightened, or compressed. And that's what you're going to feel when you're out there by yourself. Okay? You're going to feel pressed like a grape. Do you get what I mean? You're going to feel pressed. Okay? Also, sickness. Sickness can also be a con to, when you're out there by yourself, because in order to be multitasking, breaking down scriptures plus teaching, prophesying, you got the camera there, the 12 tribes sign, you're by yourself dealing with the elements. If you're sick, that's going to affect your enthusiasm, and you need to be enthusiastic. The spirit has got to be hard on you. The scriptures call us lively stones, and being sick, that can affect that lively spirit. It really can. So oftentimes, if you're sick and you're by yourself, like for example, like me, I've got a low immune system, so I have to be on point with my diet. I got to balance my diet out. If I do eat junk, I got to balance it out with something healthy, because if I get sick, if I start catching a cold and sneezing all the time, um, I can't really operate properly or function properly if I'm in the highways and hedges. It's going to affect my mood, okay? And especially if I'm sick, you don't really want to do video. You can't really do videos, because that's a bad look. It's a bad image to be sneezing all up on the camera and you just look sick, and it affects your energy. Okay. And but now if you was in a camp with brothers now, and you're sick, you can still attend camp. You could just say that, listen, you take over, I'll just hold signs, or I'll just, bring out precepts every now and then, because you have the support of other brothers. You understand? So that's a con. That's what you find to be a con of teaching by yourself. You're pressed. Okay? You feel that pressure. Is a narrow path. Okay? But this is something that we all have to enter into. Do you understand? Right. This is a path that we all have to enter into. Okay. Bear with me for a sec. This is Second Esdras chapter 7 verse 1. And when I had made an end of speaking these words, there was sent unto me the angel which had been sent unto me the nights afore. And he said unto me, Up, Esdras, and hear the words that I am come to tell thee. And I said, Speak on, my God. Then said he unto me, The sea is set in a wide place, there might be deep and great. Okay, that's the kingdom. The kingdom to come is going to be deep and very great. Remember, just talking about an eternal kingdom, which will be for eternity. A kingdom that will forever be in construction. I mean, the kingdom is never going to cease from growing. It's just going to keep growing and growing so deep that you can't find out the depths of it. Okay, just like the oceans. There's certain parts, levels to the ocean that you can't go to. All right, so it says, but put the case, the entrance were narrow and like a river. So to get to that kingdom, you're going to be experiencing pressure, pressed, compressed, straightened. Okay, just like how I was getting in Matthew's real quick. You're gonna experience trouble and affliction, distress, right? That's what you're gonna experience on a narrow entrance. Verse 5: Who then could go into the sea to look upon it and to rule it if he went not through the narrow? How could he come into the broad? You see? So, again, you gotta work out your salvation with fear and trembling, your own salvation with fear and trembling, because there's no point being in the camp and thinking in your mind that this is how it's going to be. Eventually you're going to be by yourself. When all hell breaks loose and the time of tribulation and Jacob's trouble, the chances of you in that time being with all the Archeum, I'm not saying this is won't be possible, but I believe it's very highly unlikely that you will be with the rest of the Archeum in your camp when that time comes. You're most likely is going to be by yourself, or you should imagine yourself to be by yourself when that time comes. And this is you going through the fire. This narrow entrance, that's a fire that the Most High is putting us through, okay, to test us to see if we are worthy, okay. And this is why when I said when you're out there teaching by yourself, that's literally a narrow entrance you're walking down. That's a narrow passage you're walking down to reach your salvation, and if you're able to reach the end of that entrance, when Yahushua comes, you will be rewarded as the first fruits to enter in to that broad sea, okay, which is the kingdom, okay. And yeah, right. So you have to stand by wisdom. If you stand by wisdom, okay, let me get this real quick. This is Proverbs. Proverbs chapter 4, verse 5. Get wisdom, get understanding. Forget it not, neither decline from the words of my mouth. Forsake her not, and she shall preserve thee. Love her, and she shall keep thee. Right? So if you stand by wisdom, the scriptures talk about constantly enduring. If you constantly endure, because remember, she's gonna walk with you by crooked ways to see if you're worthy of her. But if you stand by wisdom, wisdom will preserve you. Okay? You're gonna grow, she's gonna nourish you, she's gonna strengthen you in this truth. She's gonna encourage you. She's always gonna be on your mind. She's gonna give you thoughts about the kingdom. She's always gonna play upon your mind. She's going to give you certain precepts. She's going to remind you of certain verses in the scriptures to encourage your faith, to boost up your faith, right? She's going to stabilize you. She's going to stabilize you. She's going to open up your mind. She's going to broaden your thoughts. She's going to increase you. She's going to make you more bold. She's going to make you more confident, right? It's going to help you to grow. This is what wisdom will do if you forsake her not. The scriptures say, verse 6, forsake her not, and she shall preserve thee. Love her, and she shall keep thee. But first she's going to test you. She's going to put you through straits. You're going to go through that narrow passage. like I read to you before, um, we get, yeah, for Ecclesiastes 4:17, for at the first she shall walk with him by crooked ways and bring fear and dread upon him. Yeah, bring fear and dread upon you. When your mom and your dad comes against you because they found out you teaching this word in the highways and hedges and you dropped out of university for this truth, they're gonna threaten to kick you out of the house. They're probably gonna stop talking to you. But what did Yahweh Shai say? He said, "Yo, I come to bring a division or separation in households. That they of your house shall be your foes, your enemies." You understand? So yeah. So wisdom will try you by crooked ways, and bring fear and dread upon him, and torment him with her discipline, until she may trust his soul and try him by her laws. So that's discipline. To forsake your way and what you want to do in your life, and to commit yourself unto the discipline of the highest, and to be about Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai's business. That's discipline. You know, this truth teaches you that you can't do what you want to do. You got to do the will of him that sent you. That's discipline. Do you understand? And that's where the word disciple comes from. So you're literally, when you're out here doing this work, you're literally becoming a disciple of Yahweh Shai. Okay, you're being disciplined by him, by the spirit of wisdom. Yeah, let's go back to 2 Ezra 7, verse 6. There is also another thing. A city is builded and set upon a broad field and is full of all good things. So the kingdom is going to be full up of all good things. Okay, the entrance thereof is narrow and is set in a dangerous place to fall. Like as if there were a fire on the right hand and on the left a deep water, and one only path between them both. So a fire on one side, of water on one side, and one only path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could but one man go there at once. You see? So there's no holding hands. You're literally by yourself. All right? So this is, you could say, the cons. Really, there's no cons about being alone. But like I said before, in contrast to actually being in a camp, being alone has its cons. Okay? Being in a camp, the pros of being in the camp is that you have the support of the Archeum. But the cons of being by yourself is that you're by yourself, man. You know, and especially if you're weaker in the faith, you could be weak. You need support. But that's what I'm saying. Paul said, I believe, when I'm weak, then am I strong. Okay? So it all depends on how, if this wisdom has gone into your soul and how you see it. If the Most has opened up your eyes to really see what this truth is entailing. All right? Let me get. This is Philippians. I know it's in Philippians. Hold on. Philippians. Hold on. I don't think it is, you know. Um, no, I know it's in this. I know it's in the New Testament, but I forget where it is. So I need to hold on. I'm doing this right now. This is oh, flip's sake, man.